Steve White, Steve Art's 89. Well, I just watched Halloween Kills, and I don't know what people are talking about. It was good. I heard nothing good about it. The only actual criticism I'd heard was pacing, but that's fairly subjective. There were some elements that were really great. I'd heard that they had done some reshooting where they went back in time, basically, and depicted the night of the original killing. I was expecting that to just be a couple of little shots or something really vague, but they had a whole sequence. The film starts off with Laurie's granddaughter's boyfriend basically finding the sheriff and he's still alive. Then they go back to him remembering the night of the original killing because he accidentally killed his partner when he was struggling with Michael. And it was covered up because, it was an accident, and they just said that Michael did it. And it was quite a sequence. They recreated the original house, they recreated the look, the tone, the feel, everything. It really felt like they'd filmed it for the second film, the original second film. And I was quite impressed. The sequence eventually ends up with Michael basically standing on the lawn with Loomis, and they hit him. He basically is on the ground. They beat him, and Loomis was going to shoot him, but then he actually stopped. The cop who accidentally killed his partner stopped Loomis from killing him, and then he obviously regretted it. But the sequence was amazing. The guy who played Loomis was amazing. I was really surprised. I wasn't expecting anything good out of this. Then we go to present day, and we see the fire trucks come, and Laurie and that realise that, they suspect that they're going to save Michael. So they go to the hospital. Laurie is operated on. She has a lot of internal damage, and they show the operation, and it's obvious that she's not going to be very active in the film. You don't think? I've sort of felt like it's going to be a repeat of part two, where she's basically, the original part two, where she's basically in bed the whole time and doesn't really do anything till sort of the last sort of reel, so to speak. Now everyone's paranoid and hysterical. It's fairly clear, fairly on, that Michael is still out there, and doesn't take long for the community to get wise. Before that, though, we have an interesting sequence where we actually see Lindsay and Tommy and Marion, the nurse, and Lonnie, because they actually have a sequence of Lonnie where he has an encounter with Michael on Halloween night when he's a boy, and we see him as an adult, and he's actually the father of Laurie's granddaughter's boyfriend. That's Lonnie is his father. So they do a lot of connecting original characters, and they spend a lot of time with the original characters. And of course, it comes out on the news that there's two criminals who have escaped that are still at large from the prison truck crash, and or was it mental asylum? I don't know. And then Tommy very quickly, in a very current day American alt-right sort of style, puts together a mob to go chase Michael down. Now, initially, I'm for this, because I'm like, we see so many horror films where you just have one individual sort of against one person and just hunting one person, and the idea of like a community horror, the whole community being terrorized and actually coming together to actually take on the villain rather than just be victims, I actually thought that would be really good. But it soon becomes an hysterical mob, and because the hospital's locked down, they realise that Michael's out there, he kills a few people, and they lock down the hospital, and everyone's getting hysterical in the hospital, and Tommy's whipping them up into quite a state, and that's a big part of the film. Another part, because they actually go out sort of doing patrols just before this, and there's a scene with Lindsay and Marion and the doctor and nurse, who are a real doctor and nurse from the first film, who are also at the bar. And there's only two things about this film. One thing about this film I didn't like, the fact that they killed Marion. Now, spoilers, they kill Marion. She's in the car, and she manages to shoot every window out and not shoot at Michael. And then when she finally does get a shot, she says, "This is for Dr. Loomis." She's got no more bullets. That really that really made me angry. Why they didn't let her shoot him? Now, it wouldn't have stopped him. He still would have killed her, but at least she would have gotten that shot in. I think she deserved it. She survived 3 films now, including H2O in the original. 4 films, including the second one. She deserved a bit more than that, and just there's no reason why she couldn't have shot at him and got a few shots in, rather than just shooting out windows and that. And also, she could have gotten away. She could have got out of the car and ran, because Lindsay was already out in this park getting the children to basically trying to save them, get them to go home, because he was basically stalking them when they showed up. And he couldn't have chased both of them. So Marion could have gotten away. Lindsay could have hidden like she did, and she could have made it back to the hospital and she didn't have to die. I really wish they hadn't killed off that original character. Now, they kill off another original character, but it's sort of not the same. So that's my only real issue with the film. And they do a little nod to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which they did in the first film, where they had these kids wearing the 3 Halloween masks from that film. And then the kids who go to the house of Michael's house that's now restored and has 2 gay men living in it, Big John and Little John. Having dated a guy with my own name, that is one way to deal with it, which I hadn't really thought of. They're probably both named John. These kids go there to trick-or-treat. They cause some trouble. They go off to the park, and Michael's stalking them, and you see they're actually wearing the Halloween masks from the 3rd film. Now, Lindsay is found. They take her to the hospital, and that's when the hospital's quarantined and everyone is basically locked down, and Tommy starts rallying the troops, so to speak. And somehow the other prisoner, who he was in a car outside the bar, and he started this off because they thought it was Michael, and he basically crashed the car and escaped. He ends up back at the hospital because he needs help, because he's got a big gash on his forehead, probably from the steering wheel or something from crashing. And they basically chase him through the hospital because they're convinced he's Michael. And Laurie realises fairly early it's not him, and she basically calls all these people sheep, and they don't listen. They knock her over. She fights with a guy. She basically busts all her stitches and so forth. And they chase him to upstairs. He's hiding. Laurie's daughter tries to help him. She helps him lock himself into a section, but the mob won't stop. They won't listen. They're just this force that can't be reasoned with. And eventually they chase him out, and he jumps out a window and basically kills himself. And everyone sees. And then the Sheriff Brackett comes down, who I think is now a security guard. He basically says it's not him. And Tommy realises he's made a mistake. And surprisingly, well, they work out where he's going to go. He has a pattern. Now, Laurie's granddaughter and her boyfriend and Lonnie go to the house, and of course, Lonnie ends up dead. Like I said, another new original character dies, but we're not attached to him because we never saw him as an adult, really. So it's not the same as Marion for me. I really wasn't happy to see Marion go. And eventually, why they would go to the house alone to take him on, I have no idea, but that's what they did. She wants revenge for her father. The dad goes in, tells them to beep the horn if they see anything. They hear a shot, they go in after him. The boyfriend's upstairs, he gets taken first. The granddaughter falls down the stairs and hurts her leg, and she has a confrontation with Michael. And then the daughter shows up. I've forgotten their names. Alison, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry. They set up a trap for Michael. She goes in. She pulls his mask off. In the fight, his mask was pulled off. She attacks him. She attacks him. She pulls off the mask. Then she leaves. He follows her. She goes across the road, through between 2 houses, onto the other street behind there. And then when Michael's there, lights come on, there's cars. The whole mob has gone there to take on Michael. And they beat him down. They shoot him. He's a mess. And you sort of wonder if he's going to die, if this is how the film's going to end. Tommy says to the daughter, go to your daughter, basically. She goes back, she stabs Michael in the neck, in the back of the neck. I thought it was in the spine, but it was more to the side, so it's kind of pointless. And then she goes back to the house, and there's some people there. They're getting medical attention. Then you see that Michael basically gets up and basically just takes out the whole team of vigilantes and the whole mob that was there to kill him. And then Judy, what is it? I know the actress's name is Judy Greer, and I really wish they'd cast Danielle Harris in the role as Laurie's daughter. I didn't think of it when I saw the film at first, because I always think of her as Jamie, and some people pointed it out in some comments, and I thought, wow, that's so a missed opportunity. Why didn't they have her play her daughter? Well, Judy Greer goes in, she basically, there's a lot of reflection about what was Michael doing. He would sit and look out, and people were thinking, was he looking out at what he was going to do, or was he looking in at what he was? And she just gets a feeling. She goes into the house, she goes upstairs, she goes to that window, she looks out that window, and he comes up behind her and stabs her to death, just like he did his sister. It was kind of surprising, and Laurie's not watching, but Laurie is looking out the window at the hospital, and she senses what's happening on some level, and that's where the film ends. I thought it was really good. I found it interesting. I found it compelling. I found the observation of the mob mentality and the good and bad sides to that, the idea of community coming together to protect itself, to defend itself, but also that it becomes like a force of its own, and the idea of fear as being the enemy and its own sort of... It was all interesting. I need to watch it a few more times to get it, and I won't watch it again until next Halloween, because I only watch the Halloween films on Halloween. That way they kind of stay fresh. Whereas if I watch them all the time, like some people, they'd just, So yeah, and there's no homophobic kill. I don't know what people are talking about. Big John and Little John do get taken out. Little John actually has a moment with Michael, saying, Michael, because he knows who he is. He obviously knows the history of the house. He says, you've come home. He kills him. And then later on we see he put Big John's head in Little John's lap when they were both dead, and he just left them sitting there like that, much like he's recreating a photo of them that they had on a table or something. I didn't see anything homophobic or strange about it. Yes, he positioned the bodies. He's done that many times. It was not offensive. It was almost like he was putting them together or something. I don't know what people are talking about. And so far as the firemen, it is a bit nasty that the firemen come in to rescue him, and he does kill them. But he's Michael, so that's what he does. The firemen actually try to take him on, but they lose pretty easily. And yeah, I don't know what people are talking about. I don't know why people hate the film. I don't know why it's gotten... So many people are saying they hate it. Other people are saying they love it, but other people are saying they hate it. I'm guessing it's a lot of right-wing people who see the mob, not just metaphor, but the whole mob element of the film, the way they portray those people as some sort of criticism of the right wing, and the way that they sort of took on the Capitol building on January 6th and so forth, and just that sort of thing that's happening in America, the tribalism, and there's a bit of that there, but it's really not about that. So I think some people politicized the film, and that's why they didn't like it. But I don't really see that as... I just don't get it. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I was surprised. I didn't like the first film that much. It played just like a regular Halloween for about an hour and 10 minutes, and then the last half an hour was Laurie sort of playing cat and mouse with him in the house, and then the end didn't really have any satisfaction, because you knew she didn't actually kill him, and the whole sort of promise that they were going to have this one final battle and she was going to take him on and kill him kind of rung sort of hollow. But the second film didn't have that promise, and there are a lot of scenes with the old characters talking about what happened, looking back at that night, the way the town has lived with the legacy of it and the legend of it, the idea of survivors, the idea of community coming together, taking on their demons and their fears. I thought a lot of the themes and things that happened in the film were really good. So I don't know, really, aside from political issues and people being very superficial and just making drama when there isn't, and just getting triggered for the sake of, having a whinge. I really don't know why anyone would not like this film. I'm feeling fairly optimistic for the last film, but I don't know how it's going to end. I heard they had a different ending, that supposedly they redid the ending or something. I'm going to look into that. I can now watch all the interviews and videos and things that have been released about the film, which I was avoiding because I didn't want to ruin the film, of course. So yeah, I don't know if there'll be enough there to make a video, but I just want to do a little review of the film. I just want to talk about it. I'm glad I saw it. I wish I'd seen it in the cinema, but hopefully I'll see it and the other films probably in some sort of, trilogy sort of movie marathon screening or something. But if not, I'll probably see the first two before I see the third film next year. Yeah. If you haven't seen the film, see it. It's great. I don't know what people are going on about. Just don't listen to critics. Just watch a film. Watch a film, make up your own mind. Don't let, the mob decide for you. Don't be a sheep. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the film. I'm going to go. Bye. Happy Halloween.